Hi guys, this is Lalana. Thanks for tuning into the Sovereign Path. So today we're going to talk about surrender and letting go. I did a few videos on this early on in my channel. They would be in more of the beginning of my channel if you guys want to check those out. So I've spoken about this in a lot of other videos and sort of hit on when we get to the point on this path that we have absolutely exhausted ourselves, then you know you're actually making strides, then you know you're actually making headway, then you know that you're actually about to make a jump, right? You're about to jump timelines. You're about to get to that precipice point where inner union is going to be anchored, where this is it. I'm not going to continue like looking at the same pattern over and over again. You will get to a point on this path where you have the wherewithal and you have the full-blown clarity and awareness that you have walked down the same road over and over and over again in this situation, where you have seen the same pattern, the same program, right? The same subconscious wounding, the same inner child reactions, the same inner child responses. You will get to a point on this path where you have exhausted every single avenue that you could have possibly taken, and you're standing at a crossroads. I call these precipice points, right? You're standing at a crossroads on this path that is basically saying, I can keep doing this, right? I can keep doing this. The higher self that is us, they're cool with that. We can keep doing this round and round and round. Or I can actually get to this place and where I admit to myself that I'm tired of doing this, right? I don't want to run the same pattern. I don't want to run the same program, right? I know and I am intimately involved in all of the shadow work, all of the healing work. I know all of the programs. I've seen them, I've dealt with them, I've loved them, I've held them. You know, I've suppressed them to some degree. I've allowed them to come through. I've allowed my feminine to shine through. I've allowed myself to step into my light. I've allowed myself to step into my sovereignty. I've felt myself coming in and out of inner union and on that wavering, wobbling point, right? You get to this point on this path that you will see everything so clearly, and at the same time, you will also be standing at that crossroads of having the awareness of, I can take all of this and fully anchor into freedom, into love, into source, God, creation, all that is, again, into the frequency of what I've always been, into the vibration of who I am. I can take all of this and go and anchor. Or I can continue to run this same pattern and this same program with my twin, with my masculine, right? This happens all the time. We get to this point. I call it a crossroads point. We can call it between worlds. We can call it whatever that we want, where you will have done basically all the work, right? There is no work, no one's damaged, no one's broken, no one's fucked up, but we perceive it as that. And so we're doing all of these things to break through the perception that we have had that we're wounded and broken and damaged and all of those sort of things. So we all get to a point on this path where we're feeling very much in our feminine sovereignty. We're feeling very much in inner union. We're feeling neutral. We're feeling anchored. And yet we still have this wobble that comes in that makes us doubt how far we've come, right? Or we still have this wobble that will come in that will sort of throw us into this frenzy or back into the old program or back into the ego mind of doubt when the twin is around, mostly, right? This is mostly when we're having physical interaction with the twin, whether that's texting, phone calls, seeing them online, right? Things like that, or if they're actually in your physical space, where we can feel ourselves having that choice to be able to act from and move from and respond from sovereignty, from center, from freedom, from alignment, from the truth of knowing what we are, from the truth of being on this path long enough that we have the wherewithal with how to move through it. We know what we are now. We know, right? You can feel it within you. It's not mental anymore. It's completely experiential. And yet still, we can have that wobble point where we feel like, but my twin is showing up. My twin is around me physically. My twin is X, Y, and Z. They're in my physical reality, whatever that means. And there will have that dip point where you feel like you can go backwards a little bit. You're not going backwards. I say this all the time. Once you're up, you're not going backwards. But it'll feel like you're going backwards from time to time in those moments where you just still want that interaction, right? You just still want a little bit of that validation. You just still want a little bit of that reflection to show you that you are in your feminine sovereign anchor, that you are in inner union, that you are in neutrality, that you are moving forward. And so in those moments, we still have that, that kind of itch to like look over our shoulder, see what the reflection is doing, see how they're showing up. Are they showing up differently? Can I make this work the way that they're showing up now, right? Whatever that might look like. And in those moments, we're still having that small energy, no matter how big it is, no matter how little it is, that little energy that's saying, I can still play small. I can still play small. I remember how, right? I remember how to play small. I remember what that felt like. I remember how it feels to have any sort of validation of the masculine showing up. And I know how it feels when I want more of that communication, right? I want the communication to last. So the masculine shows up and you do something for a couple of days and then they're not around anymore. And so suddenly that spike starts to pull again, right? We need that hit. We want that confirmation. We want that validation. We want to feel their energy again. Or if you're texting and you're not texting for a couple of days, or if there's a phone call, or if you're just seeing them on social media and it feels really nice and you know that you're anchoring into inner union and you know that when you went into social media that you were good, that you were solid, right? And you potentially, some of us were like checking ourselves. Let me see where I'm at. Let me see if I can hold my vibration. Let me have a conversation with the twin. Let me see what the twin is up to. Let me see if I'm actually in inner union and if I can hold this and anchor this, right? My dog's in here, both of them. And we may feel really empowered in that moment. We're feeling like, okay, I'm good, I got this, I can hold this, I'm good, yay. And then a couple days go by and we're feeling that spike again, that old familiar energy. This is the thing about this, is that most people will be able to feel this old energy, this old way of being, right? It will feel very familiar in a way that you will know that you have transcended it. You will know that you have moved out of the program, the pattern, the way that you used to show up in life, the way that you used to potentially like sacrifice or self-sacrifice or self-sabotage in romantic relationships. It has a very specific feeling, that type of energy, right? And you'll know it when it comes up. And that is that crossroads point, right? You're really much in your inner union. You're really much in neutrality. You're really feeling anchored. You're really feeling in your sovereignty. You're really feeling in center, and you have these interactions and you're good. And then a couple days later or a couple hours later, whatever it might be, there's that spike of energy that comes back up that wants more. It wants more communication. It wants more interaction. It wants another look at social media. And so you feel like you're falling backwards in those moments, and that the dominant energy that you have been working towards is starting to slip. So I just want to make a point in this video to say, one, you're not moving backwards in these moments. Your vibration is settling. Your vibration is grounding. Your vibration is anchoring. You are waking up. You're still waking up. You're still remembering who you are. You're still remembering how this path works, all of these sort of things. So in those moments, give yourself grace. But also in those moments, you will feel that choice point. You will feel that crossroads of, do I want to go back there again? And it will get to the point where you won't. You won't. You won't want to fall back into that pattern. It will feel so uncomfortable to you that you will not be able to meet the masculine in that situation, in that vibration, in that frequency, in the old pattern, in the old program, whatever we want to call it. You will get to the point where you won't be able to go there, right? You won't be able to do it. This doesn't mean that the masculine is behind you. It doesn't mean that the masculine is under you. It means that the masculine is pushing you still, no matter what by means, to be able to hold that anchor that you have been working your ass off, peeling off all of these layers of the onion, coming back into the remembrance of who and what you are to maintain it, right? And so we have this like thing that it's like, I'm doing really good. And so, you know, I magnetize the twin back in and this is feeling really good. And then suddenly I'm getting thrown off, but I know I was doing well and all of these sort of things. You have to be able to maintain the vibration. And in order to be able to maintain it, you are going to have situations come in with the masculine, sometimes with other people, to see where you're at, right? To see where you're at. And over time, this kind of back and forth, it's still an on and off thing, right? It's still that checking of where are you vibrationally? Let's see. Are you going to get triggered by this? Let's see. Let's do it. Over time, this still feels like a repetitive cycle. It will feel still like you're going in and out and on and off on some level. It'll still feel like a bit of that spirally roller coastery thing. And at some point, this process will bring you to exhaustion, basically. You will simply get sick of it. It's like a second aspect or a third aspect of this path. So the beginning, the obsessive stage and all of that sort of stuff, it's up and down and up and down and up and down. But that up and down still continues as you're anchoring into neutrality, as you're anchoring into inner union, because we need to see if you're going to be triggered still, if you've cleared this stuff, right? If it's still running within you. What's still going on in that subconscious programming? Well, we're going to find out. And then that's when you feel that back and forth. And that's why I get these questions all the time in my coaching and in the comments. I know I was in inner union, Lalana. What's going on? Why do I feel like I've slipped back down the mountain? Or I know I was feeling neutrality. Or I know I was feeling anchored. I know I was in my sovereignty. But when the twin comes in, I'm like, I'm good for a minute. And then I feel like I just got, yanked backwards the next day or an hour later or however long. Or I've been feeling good, but then they came up on my social media feed, or I had some other, synchronicity or some other sign come up around me that sort of threw me out of alignment. What's the deal? I've been doing really well. In those moments, you guys have heard me say, are you holding your vibration? Are you still able to get yanked out of alignment is really what you need to ask yourself. Am I still able to get yanked out of alignment in these moments? If you are, that's okay. It just means that there's still stuff that you're peeling off, right? But you will get to a point where even a little bit of that old energy that you used to run through the programming, through the patterning, all of that stuff, even when you start to feel it a little bit, it'll start to feel like, oh, no, I can't do that. It doesn't feel right, doesn't feel resonant to me, right? Doesn't feel in alignment with me. And this is the tricky part on this path, and that's mostly what this video is about, is that when it starts to feel out of alignment is when a lot of times the feminine will a little bit start to panic, not gender specific, because they will feel like, wait, now I feel like there's this lack of resonance. We're not on the same vibration. Sorry, my hair is driving me crazy. We're not on, it's like on me. Sorry, guys. We're not on the same vibration. I'm feeling different now. I'm not responding in the same way to my masculine, or I'm not responding to the same way when triggers that used to bother me come up. And I feel like we're not in resonance. Like I'm not in the same alignment with the masculine. And in those moments, there's two things that are going on here that I want you guys to look at. One of them is you're shifting. You're shifting. You're healing, right? You're releasing the programs in those moments. And this is why it feels like you can't go backwards. But at the same time, you're feeling like, I can't play that game anymore. I can't play the 3D game anymore. I can't play the same pattern. I can't go down the same road with you anymore. I can't go round and round with you anymore. And so this means you're shifting. And that's a really good thing, right? You don't have the wherewithal to continue to play out that lower vibratory state. But also embroiled in there, a lot of times for the feminine, is this feeling of, but now I feel guilty because what does that mean? I'm like in some hierarchy thing, and so now my vibration is higher than your vibration, and so that means that I'm better than you, and but I can't leave my masculine behind. I did a video on this several months ago. I can't leave my masculine behind, so I don't really know how to navigate this. And so we get into this slippery point of like, what do I do now? You can feel yourself shifting. You can feel yourself shifting and vibrating out of the program and the pattern that you have been running potentially all of your life, and certainly the one that you have been running with the twin. You're coming out of it. And as you're coming out of it, you're not able to respond in the same way or react to the same way to the physical aspect of the masculine, whether that be social media or otherwise, that you used to, right? And in those moments, a lot of times we panic. The reason that you're not able to continue to react and respond and just do the whole game like you used to do is because you're not running that pattern anymore. You're not running that program anymore. And so when you look back and you notice that the twin still is, it feels like I need to help them, or it feels like I'm guilty, or it feels like, well, in order to keep them around, I need to like continue to play the game on some level. And so you have to have that awareness of, am I self-sabotaging in these moments? You know, am I bending myself backwards to meet someone, you know, in a way that they need to be met rather than a way that I need to be met? All of these sort of things. And coming from this beautiful, loving space within you. It's not going to be coming from the mind. The mind is the one that's saying, like, I can't leave the twin behind. What does this mean? Blah, 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 all of these sort of things. But the frequency, the vibration, the inner you, the inner world that you are holding, your consciousness will be feeling freer and lighter and more loving, less attached, right? More in the state of, I'm good. I'm just good. I feel good. And so when we get to that point and you start to slip backwards, as I was saying, or you feel like you're starting to slip backwards, have the awareness that the reason that you're getting to that point and the reason that the masculine is showing up in these moments is to maintain that vibration for you. It's not so you can pull backwards and continue to meet them where you've been meeting them for however many months or years that you've been, you know, doing this path. And we think that. That's the thing here. That's why I say things like, stop looking over your shoulder and seeing where the masculine is as you're coming into inner union. Stop paying attention or looking for the reflection to show you or validate you that you are coming and anchoring into inner union. Because you are pulling that old vibration back, right? You are settling, you are going back into the vibration and into the pattern and the program that you have been releasing all of this time. The masculine isn't showing up in those moments that you feel like you're coming into inner union in order to bring you backwards. They're showing up to show you how far you've come and to continue to push you forward. Not so that you be like, well, I can't leave them behind, or I feel guilty now because I'm vibrating up and they're doing X, Y, and Z. You are meant to vibrate up. You're meant to vibrate out of the illusion, of the dream state that you were ever wounded, broken, messed up, you know, the whole thing. That's what ascension is. That's what awakening is. And so when you're shifting out, it's normal sometimes to feel like you're going backwards again because the masculine shows up, or because now they want to like be in your life more physically and all of those sort of things. You still have to hold your ground. You still have to hold your center. You still have to hold your anchor. It's okay if you wobble a little bit. That's normal. It's par for the course. But you have to have the wherewithal that the reason that the masculine is showing up is because you've shifted in vibration, not because that you need to start self-sabotaging and moving back into that old thing. And you will feel that it doesn't resonate. Like, this will not feel good to you. It won't. But at the same time, there may still be those parts of you that still like the attention, that still like the validation, that's still saying, that ego aspect of you is saying, look, this means I came into inner union, and that means blah, 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 right? And that means blah, 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 blah. Right? That's still just another like false aspect of you that's trying to like chime in and act like it knows what it's talking about on this path. Inner union doesn't need to have a voice, right? It doesn't need to have a voice. It's stillness, it's awareness, it's love, it's unconditional love, it's experiential, it's vibrational, it's frequency. It is the conscious of you expressing itself and you actually feeling it for the first time in this lifetime. It doesn't have that voice that's saying, oh, look, oh, they're doing this X, Y, and Z. It's just buoyancy. It just feels like freedom. It just feels like peace, and it just feels like love, which is why when you're in this state, you don't need to react. You don't need to respond. You don't get triggered. That stuff just stops happening, right? Because you're not a vibratory match to it anymore. But as you're pulling into inner union, right, as I'm saying, you will get to the point where you will feel this potentially pulling you back and forth, but it will not be able to stick because that old vibration will feel exhausting to you. It'll feel completely out of alignment to you. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. I hear a lot of you asking, like, can my masculine pull me out of alignment? If we're living together, for instance, if we're starting to like be more in each other's physical world, can they pull me out of alignment if I'm in inner union? If you still have things running within you that you are still working through, yes, they can. They can. It's not them doing it. It's your inner world doing it, right? You still have some sort of a vibratory resonance with what is coming up that the masculine is reflecting back to you. So some sort of perceived wounding is still running. Some sort of perceived program is still running. Still liking the masculine's attention and wanting their validation and wanting them to be all around all the time and missing them when they're not, and all of those sort of things, and feeling like, but I was in a union and they showed up and now they've been gone for 2 days and I haven't heard from them, and so now I need to hear from them again. And that's bringing up that anxiety that potentially you had if you're running an anxious attachment style or things of that nature. If that's going on, it's showing you that you haven't anchored inner union yet. That's all, and that's okay. It's showing you that you haven't anchored it, but it's not showing you that to pull you backwards. It's showing you so that you continue to go forward. As I said, the masculine isn't showing up in these different energies and in these different, more aligned ways for you when you're coming into inner union in order for you to like get all excited about it and whatever else. It's to show you that you're actually shifting in your vibration and you're anchoring more and more. And in order to maintain that, you need to continue to go forward, not look back and feel like, okay, now I'm running the same pattern, or my masculine is pulling me out of alignment now when they're showing up in all of these things. It's to push you, continue to anchor and to move forward in your sovereignty, right? Hopefully that makes sense, guys. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that you have an awesome day.